everybody, OT Rose Conversations. This is Michelle here. I am so honored to be talking to my friend La'Tasha. Yes. So La'Tasha does spoken word art. She is just artistic in so many ways. She just exudes creativity and life and love, and I love her.
You're being kind.
So what we're talking about today is just a little bit about how La'Tasha got started with spoken word and what it is about that medium that she really enjoys. So when did you start doing, like, writing spoken word and performing it?
So when did I start? I want to say that I was probably 21. I was in a relationship with a man. It didn't work out. That came to an end. But he, like, one of his, like, love language was, like, poetry and words and writing, and so he would write me stuff, and so I was like, oh, this is one of his, is that what they call it, like a love language? Is just, if this is something that means a lot to him, let me try writing something that's meaningful. And so I gave it a go, and I don't think it was very good, but it kind of opened up the whole realm of, like, creative writing and poetry, and that was kind of big for me because when I was little, I'm probably getting a tad bit off topic, but when I was little, I remember, like, being in kindergarten. It was either kindergarten or first grade, and I came home, and it was some assignment that the teacher had given us, and it was like simple words like cat or het or something, dog. And I had messed up spelling. I didn't spell those words correctly. And so I remember it was sometime after midnight that my mother came in, and she woke me up, and she was upset that I had, that none of the answers were right. And so I remember, like, going to the table. I know that she's mad. I know I've done something wrong. And, like, having her, like, spit just, like, really harshful things out at me. And then from that point up until maybe like the 6th grade, it was that consistently happened. Like, I would have to come home and show her my work, and then she would, anyway, not diving too deep into all of that. But
was that a deterrent for you, like, because of having scrutiny over your performance, if you will, with words? Did that kind of make it hard to really open yourself up and allow yourself to find your voice in spoken word?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
It did. Yeah. So I spent, like, most of my life thinking that, like, writing and speaking was like something that I just wasn't good at doing.
Wow.
And so then to be in this relationship, and then this guy's a writer, and he's like saying, oh, you should give it a go. And so I did, and I'm happy that I did, because I did. Like I said, I wrote that one particular piece for him, but shortly, like months after that, FCCI was having, like, this New Year's Eve celebration, and so they were looking for people to perform, share, whatever, and I was asked to write something, which I'm not even sure why they asked me to do that, and so I did, and then that's when everything really sparked, because I wrote this this piece about Be My Voice, which was, just a dear piece of mine.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, just checking on that. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, that's so cool. That is so cool, La'Tasha. So that, it's fascinating how often it is, like, love relationships that kind of spur people to create. I have, like, I have a work called Flashlight that I've been working on for years. I don't know, probably almost 10 years now. And it was, and that's really what I first felt like God said to write that down. It was almost like I'd had this interaction with a gentleman, and it, I never went anywhere, but it was still something very monumental in my learning about myself, and I felt like that was something I was supposed to write down. And it just, from that point on, it was like, I think there's something to this, about this almost historian of our own lives, to see the story that, really is being written through our experiences, right? And what we can learn from them. So I don't know, what's your take on what kind of motivates you to want to, write out poems and speak out poems? Like, what is it churning in you that is like, this needs to get out? And does it feel that way? Does it feel like something that's, okay, needs to be birthed now? Like, how does that feel for you, the process?
I think it's kind of a hard question to answer. But if I I'm sorry, this is me closing my eyes and going in to
no,
pull
please.
out the
Yes, yes.
So really, it's, I know I shared with you that I wrote this piece for this man that I was with, but then I said after that, I wrote a piece for my father, which I'm talking about God, my creator. And so poetry became a way for me to express my love. It's a form of worship, and it's personal. It's because there's one thing to kind of like open the Bible and you see like David prayed and this person prayed and that person. They have like their own way of like communicating and talking to the Father, and so poetry became my way of What is the word that I'm looking for?
Communing? Like communication.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Fellowship with God.
Yes. So that has, I think that's like the foundation. But I think that I also have, I don't know why I said but, I think I also have moments where I'm willing to neglect the, I'm going to say sounds, but it's really like words. And there are moments where I like neglect that. Like I can hear a piece running through my head, but I'm just like, I'm not taking the time out to write that down. So I think that there are moments just out of worship, moments where I want to, maybe I'm working with the youth and I want to minister to them. Or sometimes I use poetry to hold myself accountable or to process trauma or something that I've experienced. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, absolutely. No, that absolutely answered my question, La'Tasha. That was great. No, I'm so glad to hear about this process that you go through when you're writing, and what kind of motivates you to do that. And I mean, for me, I got the key things that I got out of that was worship, communing with the Creator. And isn't that interesting? Like it's like in the creative act itself that we commune with, we often feel like this connection to the divine. And I mean, it speaks to like our made in the image of Godness, if you will, right? In the Creator God, when we create, it's like we really feel that closeness with birthing something new life. Something that I find interesting about spoken word, because I love dance, we both love dance, just dancing, and it's a wonderful form of expression. But spoken word is the only other form of art that I can think of that you're physically present with your art as you're performing it. You're embodying in a sense, right? Like the art is you, because it doesn't quite work the same. Yes, somebody can read it on paper, and that's great too. It stands in that way alone. But the whole, I don't know, magic, if you will, of spoken word is that you're performing it, right? Like you're there, and your voice. Oh my gosh! I tell people like, go listen to La'Tasha, because this is like your voice is so powerful. So how, like, what is it about? Yeah, maybe this would be my question. What was it about the spoken word that appealed to you? Like, did you feel like writing poems? You're like, what made it feel like it had to be the spoken word versus just on paper? Like just write it out and there it's done.
Yeah. I have like to touch art, to smell it, to taste it, to see it, to sit beside it, to sit on it, to wear it, to like all of that. It stimulates me. Like there is like a energy that just runs through my body at the thought of like, and I mean not just any art, but like art that I identify with, art that's like a reflection of who I am, and who I want to be, or where I have been and where I'm planning on going. So my desire, and even a prayer of mine, has always been like, I want to embody art. I do. And not because it's because art is like this beautiful thing, but art isn't like fashion. So it's not designed to be where am I going with this thought? It's not, I think sometimes when people use the word art, someone else may think like, oh, this is just about like beauty, the outward appearance. No, like I'm talking about real art. And so that comes from within, that has to deal with the heart. It has to deal with the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, like the ability and the opportunity to be able to embody art is not just an honor, but there's this experience that you get to have, and not the experience of someone clapping their hands saying, man, you did a good job, but I'm saying there's an experience that you have with your words, there's an experience that you have with Holy Spirit that that can only be experienced in that
embodiment. Really.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. That's so good, La'Tasha. That is so good. Could you speak a little bit on the Tripod Manifesto? Just that book of yours. I don't know, anything you'd like to share about it, because I know that's a project of yours, and I'd love for people to hear about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been such a long time since I think about the pieces, but like it's been a while since I've talked about the pieces.
Yeah, right.
So Tripod Manifesto. I know that I selected tripod because I think of like spirit, soul, body, and manifesto is like your policy, and so it's the laws that you live by. And I think that my spirit, soul, and body, I think that those three things work together to form my manifesto. It forms the policy that I live by. Yeah. And so if I'm behaving a certain way that is unpleasing, then that means that there's something wrong with my tripod. There's something going on, whether in the spirit, soul, the body, that's just not aligned. And so I'm striving to align my tripod, my spirit, soul, and body with the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so this collection that I don't know, I guess released 2 years ago, 2.5. I'm not keeping track of it. But I made a very dumb decision, Michelle. I made a dumb decision. And if you don't mind me being like fully transparent,
sure.
I made a choice to sleep with a married man. And it wasn't just a married man, but I made a choice to break up a friendship that I had with his wife. And so 10 years after being like celibate, I chose to be absolutely destructive in so many different ways. And so there's a whole lot to go with that, but that's I'm sharing that piece because I had to sit down and look at my tripod and say, how did I do that? Like it wasn't. And it took me a while to get to this place, but it wasn't enough just to say, you know what, I sinned, I'm sorry, and now I'm going to do the right thing. That wasn't enough for me. I needed to take ownership of what I did, and I also needed to understand how I got to that place. And often sexual acts are not done because of sexual desires. It's really some form of brokenness or absent in another area, and then you use sex or whatever to kind of you get where I'm going with all of that. So anyway, so my father, which once again I'm speaking about God, is he used the art of poetry, the art of spoken word poetry to help me take accountability, as well as that to help me process like how I got to that place. And he also used it to help me like forgive myself and heal. And so that is where those pieces came from.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think I mentioned that the first night that I came, it was when Bernard invited me over, and I shared building blocks, and so when I was sharing it, you went inside to put the kids down. So that piece you missed, but I did share that with everyone else who was outside.
Word. That's amazing. All those years ago, and I just like had missed that little piece.
That
building block.
It changes. I mean, like knowing that just changes, and even going back, I'm probably like taking over this interview.
Please do.
But
take it away, girl.
Building blocks, which was the first piece. It was. You know what? I could talk about that, but if I want to actually start from the beginning. I wrote a piece because after I had sinned, I was like, yo, I sinned, and what do I do now? So then I kept it to myself for a whole year. I didn't tell anyone. And during that time period, I wrote this poetry that I was working on this piece, and I didn't know what I was really writing about, but what I heard was the words, and so I just kept writing them. There was one word after the next, and then there's like one sentence and a paragraph, and I just kept writing it, but I had no clue what I was really writing, but I just knew that I was supposed to, anyway, complete the piece. So the piece is about, there's characters, so there's like love, hope, community, and destruction.
I'm just checking on this. Keep going, please.
So love, hope,
continue.
Community, destruction. These are the characters. And long story short, I write the piece, and I'm like, oh, that's nice, that's beautiful. But I didn't realize that was the beginning to this collection, Tripod Manifesto. Like, that was the beginning piece. And that is when the Father stepped in and started using the art of poetry to help me take accountability.
Wow.
And if I could just make the connection between the characters,
please do.
Is that I believe that love is sustained by hope. And I guess I can use my parents as an example. I know that my parents love each other, but there's a period in their relationship where they lost hope in the relationship. And when they lost that hope, they stopped giving, they stopped communicating, they stopped working on bettering themselves, they stopped working on their relationship. So there was love. If someone asked me, did my parents love each other? Yes. But because they didn't have hope for their relationship, it began to decline. They welcomed in, destruction came in and began to tear up some things. And so I, and when destruction came in, it messed up like the community, like the family, this community that my parents had, built with us 5 kids. It started to mess with that. And so anyway, this piece showed me that because I had lost hope, that is why I was that opened the door for destruction to come in. I could go on and on, but for the sake of time, I'm not. I hope
that. So the characters you were talking about, love, hope, and because you said that there's these characters, right? Love, hope. Was there another character I missed in there?
Love, hope, community, and destruction.
Wow.
So yeah. So
I love that, like kind of personifying those terms and seeing what the interplay is between them.
Right.
That's really fascinating. I think what you said on hope, in love being so essential, is because it kind of, there's a way in which hope has a longevity, right? It has like a future that I think sometimes is forgotten. Like,
that's a good point.
In love, like, and I think in like love relationships, it's almost, we forget that we're still building something. It's not built, it's not done. It's you're still working on that.
Right.
And I think maybe we gravitate towards just, it's just human nature to kind of want things to be simple, easy, taken care of, done.
Right.
But it's like, no, the Father's work is a very continual, the work of humanity is a continual laboring in a way. And so that hope, I think, is hope is something you get excited for stuff. You get excited about what it could be, what it's going to be. And I think you're so right that hope needs to reinvigorate love. Otherwise it's almost like love gets drained or something. And it's right. Yeah. And it's just, it's hard to say how that love is very loving, even though it's still there.
Right. And the fact that it's, like love is an action, like it's not just something said, but it's something that's embodied and it's something that's lived. Yeah.
That's so amazing. So if people wanted to read the Tripod Manifesto, how could they access it to it or buy it, or because I knew you'd put it in a book form. Oh, it's on Amazon. Yep. Nice, great. So just type in Tripod Manifesto by La'Tasha Strother.
Yes.
Okay. STROTHER.
Awesome. Nice.
So that's how they would find your book, and they could read your poems. What if they wanted to see you like perform? Because like I said, the element of the spoken word is just, I mean, I'm just always mind boggled when I watch you perform. It's just like I'm taken to another dimension. Aww. So if people wanted to see you performing, do you have any videos uploaded anywhere?
Yeah, so everything's like Tripod Manifesto now.
Tripod, that's okay.
I'm a tattoo across my forehead. No, that was a joke.
Stamp on your forehead.
Exactly. But I'm saying that because if you go to YouTube and type in Tripod Manifesto,
Excellent.
You'll be able to pull up. And that collection, like it's 7 pieces, but the first 5 pieces I recorded and uploaded. And yeah.
I wanted to say 2 quick things on what things I was thinking about when you were speaking. The tripod is so perfect, right? Because when something's off, it falls down. Like, I think we think of laws as these very, like, straight-laced, like, ooh, we're just, like, suffocating. But no, like, I think laws are there's very much an order so that you can actually stand tall and stand up and support yourself and be supported, So I think I love that. I love the tripod imagery you use there with that, it's almost like the 3-corded braid, that cord is so strong and solid in that trinity, right? And then another thing that I was thinking about, gollywogs, I hope I remember now. Just about spoken word, how poetry helped you heal and helped you stay accountable. I think that's so powerful. That, like, that's the beauty and the wonder of creating art and making art. And I think we really do ourselves a favor when we take the time to sometimes listen to that still small voice and go ahead and make something out of it, right? Like, and yes, there's going to be times where life is a busy thing and you don't always have the time to write it down. But when you just feel like you really need to do it, because you will, there's a healing that's done in that. I really believe it. Yes. And I think that's what I hear a lot in what you're talking about with Tripod Manifesto.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you, La'Tasha. La'Tasha, it's been amazing.
It has been.
I appreciate your time. I really do. Thank you. I love you.
I love you as well. I appreciate you.
Yes, well, guys, this has been OG Rose Conversation here with La'Tasha. Please go check out her work. She's amazing, and we thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much for listening to this OG Rose Conversation. The following is a spoken word poem by La'Tasha named Am I? She did it completely from memory, which is rather extraordinary, and it's always a joy to hear her work. Be sure to visit to find her online, to listen to her on YouTube. It is just not to be missed.
Am I is the reason why she took a hold of it, as if she fit an autonomous frame, thinking this will not bring a stain of shame. In plain sight, she opted out of hindsight and took a bite, despite knowing the seed inside is what classified the apple of her eye as a fruit. Brute was the seed of the fruit destined to germinate, yet she swallowed it anyway. On display was her faith that held her fate as she ate. She offered her mate a taste. With carnal haste, I became his reasoning for honoring her offering by making his belly a seedbed. He fed off M.I. inquisitions that beheld false predictions, leaving him with as many lacerations as the man named Legion. As a region, M.I. occupied the thoughts of his imagination. M.I. sensations fostered in him the contentious mental images of his own image. The scrimmage of mockery over his and hers image pillaged their morality, leaving them with deep-seated M.I. spices that bred vices. This unrighteous philosophy of am I impedes curiosity, inverting the biblical ideology of I am. The ram's infinite wisdom of I am sought the curse that reversed the image in which man came from, spun from, to run from, now numb and nude due to being uncovered by the clothing of truth. Ruthless fishes out of the MI image aged is this epidemic passed down from Adam to Cain, who wandered through the wilderness of am I qualified to take my brother's life? Abram's wife wandered through the wilderness of am I qualified to bear a son out of a concubine? Faintly wine Esau through the wilderness of am I qualified to slight my birthright of virtue, yet still insist on being blessed? Reuben did not confess, for he would rather wander through the wilderness of am I qualified to act as if I did not dip the coat in the blood of a goat. The moat of sand dunes could not keep Moses from wandering through the wilderness of am I qualified to take the matters of my oppressor into my own hands, but by grace through God's hands Moses came to reverence the I am, setting aside the wilderness of am I, taking up a new apple of the eye that seed filtrates by imparting the traits of the ram that abides in the infinite wisdom of the great I am. Yet, and for a king Israel went on to scream. The scheme of am I was devised to be desired to make one wise, for it's only in the fear of I am that the true wisdom abides. All these am I lies swarm like flies, indicating that the flesh is nothing but a carcass with maggots inside. Hives of am I's perpetrate Adam's fallen state, forgetting what's at stake. That was pierced with mistake, worshiping out of a fake molten image that will fall upon its face before the face of the